Welcome to lesson 074 of Online School of Entrepreneurship. I am Dr. Kirian Mfam. In today's lecture, we will look at the meaning and types of feasibility study. Upon completion of this lecture, our audience will be able to define feasibility study and discuss the types of feasibility studies. Meaning of feasibility study. A feasibility study is a preliminary exploration of a proposed business or undertaking to determine its merits and viability. A feasibility study is a preliminary investigation of a business an entrepreneur intends to develop and launch in order to determine or ascertain the advantages associated with that business idea, as well as the viability of the business idea. A feasibility study aims to provide an independent assessment that examines all aspects of a proposed business venture, including technical, economic, financial, legal, and environmental considerations, among others. What feasibility study does is to give an objective assessment of the conditions that will adversely or otherwise affect the new business idea or initiative that is being developed for implementation. And some of the areas of concern usually when we're doing feasibility study analysis for a business are the technical, economic, financial, legal, and environmental considerations, among others. This information then helps potential business owners or entrepreneurs to determine whether or not to proceed with the business project. Once you conduct your feasibility study and the results shows negative indications, it means that that idea should be dropped. However, where the indicators show positive signs, it means that the business idea should be implemented. Feasibility studies can also provide an entrepreneur with crucial information that could prevent them from entering carelessly into a risky business. What feasibility study does is to guide the potential investor not to enter into a very risky business that at the end will not yield anything for the entrepreneur. A feasibility study assesses the practicability of a proposed business idea. That is, it shows how practicable a business idea can be implemented when developed. An entrepreneur may conduct a feasibility study if he is considering launching a new business or adopting a new product line. So once you want to adopt a new business as an entrepreneur, you can conduct a feasibility study to know the viability of the new business you intend to launch. Or if you want to diversify into another line of product, you can also conduct a feasibility study to know the extent to which that diversification can be viable or not. Feasibility study is a good idea to have and adopt when you are into business, because as we're going to see later, it has inherent advantages. It is a good idea to have a contingency business plan in case of unforeseeable circumstances or if the original business is not feasible. So the business plan helps an entrepreneur to have a plan B. Should plan A not work, what will be the next plan so that you can remain in business? An entrepreneur may conduct a feasibility study if he's considering a new product, diversification, or a new line of business. So it is important to know that feasibility is not only for new businesses, but as well for businesses that are in existence that need other forms of reforms. Preparing a business feasibility study is an important step that may assist entrepreneurs in making informed decisions about whether or not to spend time and money on an endeavor. Resources are hard, be it financial resources, time resources, and other resources. What feasibility study does is to guide the entrepreneur, the investor, so that he or she will not waste his or her financial or time resources in a business venture that will not actually bring return on investment. Feasibility studies may also help entrepreneurs avoid taking on a tricky business endeavor by providing them with critical information. When we conduct feasibility studies, we get insights into the kind of businesses we want to launch or establish. And this will help us to know the extent to which we are ready in terms of even our capacity to deliver on such businesses. An additional advantage of doing a feasibility study is that it aids the creation of new ventures by providing information on factors such as how a business will work, what difficulties it could face, who its competitors are, and how much and where it will get its funding from. These marketing methods are the goal of feasibility studies, which try to persuade financiers and banks whether putting money into a certain business venture makes sense or not. So what we're doing here is that we are rolling out the benefits of conducting feasibility study. And now we have introduced the element of the third party, such as stakeholders, banks, finance your business organization, or the new business idea you want to launch. That it will be important if they see the insight of what you want to do through a feasibility. Feasibility studies are important to business development. They can allow a business to address where and how it will operate. They can also identify potential obstacles that may impede its operations and recognize the amount of funding it will need to get the business started and being implemented and administered. Feasibility studies aim for marketing strategies that could help convince investors or banks that investing in a particular project or business is a wise choice. So what feasibility study does is to expose the strengths and weaknesses of a potential business before an investor will decide on whether or not to continue with such an investment. The goals of feasibility studies are as follows. 1. To thoroughly understand all the aspects of a business, the concept and the plan. So feasibility study gives us an opportunity to have a critical understanding of the major aspects of the business, beginning from the concept and the plan. 2. Feasibility study help us to become aware of any potential problems that could occur while implementing a business. So one other goal of feasibility studies is to help us diagnose the business idea we're trying to implement, to know possible obstacles or challenges that may occur in the future. And 3, to determine if, after considering all significant factors, the business is viable, that is, worth undertaking. So, feasibility studies gives us the mandate, the go ahead or otherwise, after considering all the necessary factors, to know if the intended business is viable. Types of feasibility study. A feasibility analysis evaluates a business potential for success. Therefore, perceived objectivity is an essential factor in the credibility of the study for potential investors and lending institutions. Now, because of the role feasibility studies plays, objectivity is a key factor for its acceptance by potential investors and lending institutions like banks. There are many types of feasibility studies, that is, separate areas that a feasibility study examines, and these include the following. 1. Technical feasibility. It determines appropriate technological processes to be employed, the type and extent of machinery and equipment required. So in technical feasibility, the focus is on the technological processes that will be required to implement the new business idea. It is concerned with the type and extent of machinery and equipment that will be needed to implement the business effectively. This assessment focuses on the technical resources available for the business. It helps organizations determine whether the technical resources meet capacity and whether the technical team is capable of converting the ideas into working systems. Technical feasibility also involves evaluation of the hardware, the software, and other technical requirements of the proposed business. 2. Economic feasibility. Economic feasibility is conducted to develop a financial model of the business venture and to determine what level of revenue is required to satisfy the return on investment demanded by the founder or the investors. So here our focus is on the return on investment. How much revenue are we going to get if we put so amount of money, so that we can cover the amount of money that has been invested or that will be invested in the new business idea. This assessment typically involves a cost-benefit analysis of the business, helping the entrepreneur to determine the viability, the cost, and benefits associated with a business before financial resources are allocated. So it is important to determine the cost, what the business will need in terms of the financial demands and needs before you start thinking on how to employ your capital. It also serves as an independent business assessment and enhances business credibility, helping entrepreneurs determine the positive economic benefits that proposed businesses will provide. 3. Legal feasibility. This assessment investigates whether any aspect of the proposed business conflicts with legal requirements, such as business location, data protection laws, social media laws, etc. It's very important to conduct legal feasibility so that you don't go and do an illegal business that will no sooner than later be disbanded from the market. A feasibility study might reveal the organization's ideal location isn't approved for that type of business. So before you locate your business in a particular location or environment, you must do legal feasibility to know if such a business will be allowed in that kind of environment. 4. Operational feasibility. This assessment involves undertaking a study to analyze and determine whether and how well the potential business needs can be met by establishing the business. Operational feasibility studies also examine how a business plan satisfies the requirement, identify the requirements analysis phase of the business development. Now, what we're saying here is that when you conduct your operational feasibility, you are looking at the potentials of the business to meet the day-to-day, the demands of the day-to-day operations, the functionality of the various aspects of the business, so that you know if your team has the capacity to deliver on those functional requirements. 5. Managerial feasibility study. This deals with quantity and quality of management staff, organizational structure, and their responsibilities. So under managerial feasibility, we are looking at the number of employees you are going to employ. How many of them will be at the management level? What will be the organizational structure that will deliver effectively on your business idea? And what will be the responsibility of the line managers? 6. Financial feasibility study. This focuses specifically on the financial aspects of the study. It assesses the economic viability of the proposed venture by evaluating the startup cost, operating expenses, cash flow, and making a forecast of future performance. So it is the financial feasibility study that will determine how much they will be required in the business, to start the business, to operate the business, and to take care of investing activities, as well as how the business will perform in the futures, having maximized the financial inputs. 7. Socio-cultural feasibility study. This focuses on the social and cultural considerations of the society and environment. Before you locate a business in a particular society or environment, you must look at the socio-cultural dynamics of that environment or society to know if they will accept your product or otherwise. 8. Safety feasibility study. This focuses on protection of the business and its employees. It is important to look at the security aspect of your organization, so that you don't go and establish a business where within the first night of establishment your goods will all be looted away without the interference or protection of security agencies. 9. Political feasibility study. This shows how policies and government programs affects a business organization. We have to know at this point that businesses are not run in a vacuum. They are operated within the political environment, which is being regulated by government policies and programs. 10. Environmental feasibility study. This provides a sound recommendation about the environmental viability of the project. That is, if it can obtain the necessary approvals, and if so, at a reasonable cost. Now, just like the political environment, just like the political feasibility study, the environmental feasibility study is also important, because not all businesses are accepted in every environment. So you must do environmental scanning and environmental feasibility study to know if your line of business will be accepted in that immediate environment. 11. Market feasibility study. This helps to identify market competition, potential markets, and market analysis to assess a business idea. What this feasibility study does is to know if you can have a share of the market once you launch your business. Excuse me. In the course of this lecture, and in line with our instructional objectives, we were able to explain the meaning of feasibility study and 11 types of feasibility studies. Let it be noted that there are other types of feasibility studies depending on what the entrepreneur or the investor is looking at. Thank you, and see you in our next lecture. Please give us support by following us on our Facebook page, Online School of Entrepreneurship, 2, subscribing to our YouTube channel, Entrepreneurship Teacher, and sharing, commenting, and liking our posts. Thank you, and God bless you.